Story 1. My mom, 41F, cheated on my dad, 52M, and tried to use me to cover it up. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. My brother, who I'll call B, never got along with me. We'd fight all the time, and I wasn't entirely sad when he moved away. But even in another state, he still argues with my mom, and she tells me about how horrible he is. The other day my mom said my brother B might be cutting contact, and she said nothing else until after the evening. Around 5 p.m. my mom called me again and explained the situation. She claimed that she was testing my brother by saying she cheated on my stepdad and that he failed horribly. She said she didn't actually cheat and that I could tell him that he failed the test, but something else confused me. She told me to tell B that I've known about the test for a while, but I only heard about it the same day she told me, so I awkwardly told my brother he failed a test, but I was mad too because I didn't see the point of this test in the first place. For context, my mom uses me to cover up lies a lot, like she'll buy something for herself, but my dad doesn't like her buying stuff, so she says I bought it and I bring it to my room for her to later grab. Back to story. That's when my brother started going off about how she torments him. At first I was kinda fed up because he tormented me too, until he said he apparently confronted my mom years ago about the cheating and she only fully confessed the day before I was told about the test. The worst part is some part of me suspected it too. I've seen how she texts her coworker, she calls him Poppy, and overall flirts with him. I thought it was harmless, and my mom wouldn't do that because every relationship before my current stepdad she was abused. My mother is my world. We say we're our only reason for living. I was crying when my brother told me about this because he kept saying, I hate her, but all I could think of is, I love her. I want to confront my mom on why she lied to me, but I'm scared if my dad finds out we'll be homeless. But I know this can't be a secret. He was cheated on in a previous relationship and lost custody of his daughter, so I don't want to do that to him again. TLDR, my mom is most likely cheating and tried to use me to lie to my brother, saying it was just a test. What should I do? Story 2. I can't get over it. My BF of 8 years was sexting another woman. It all started in September, he says. She looks like a model, nice body, curvy, big boobs, big ass, has everything a man could lust over. She's definitely a lot more attractive than me. I asked him if we were okay. I felt like things were off. He would snap at me saying I'm being crazy and making up assumptions, or telling me with a smirk on his face, you don't even know what you're talking about. I just say okay. Days go by. I'm seeing him slowly remove the couple pictures he has of me on IG, and I notice he's following a girl. I remove her. The next day she's back. I ask him, you good? He plays dumb like he always does. I told him I removed the girl. Why did you follow her again? Plays dumb and gaslights me. What? No baby, it's been like that. I'm sorry, you'll unfollow her if you want. I start to get distant as he has been to me, knowing and wondering at the same time. He eventually breaks up with me because he can't handle how emotional and distant I get. So he chose her while still in my face, saying all these sweet nothings, things I want to hear with no emotion behind it. Trying to have sex with me all while he's talking to another woman daily. Telling her how special she is, how he's never met someone so perfect, someone that could keep up with him. He's never had someone be so nice and caring, looking up how to send sexy dick pics to her. I seen them, some weren't good, but there's one that made me sick to my stomach. It's like it wasn't even the same person in that video. Sexting at work, he said she would spread her lips and ass cheeks open on camera, that she wanted to come and visit him weekly to fuck him. Lying to her, saying that we aren't together but we live together, and that I'm crazy not to believe anything I say. And for some reason females like that always listen. She said so herself, that she doesn't care that it's wrong. Maybe they are a perfect match. She has a lot of male followers. She really made him feel special, and he fell into lust because she was so fast and easy with sending him sexual stuff. She was taking too long, telling him over and over that she's going to see him, and when he would make her upset she would tell him, now you have to wait, let's see how good you are. He ended up sexting her friend and says that was the end of it. My soul can't rest. Is it bad I want to set her up? I just want to see. Story 3. Found out my M/23 girlfriend F/23 still talks to guys she used to hook up with. Where do I go from here? Hi everyone. First off, I know it's not right to go through your partner's phone, but this is something that has been festering inside me for a while. I constantly saw Bumble notifications and Snapchats from the same guys pop up on her phone. We have been together 10 months now and are both 23. She often leaves her phone around me and doesn't mind doing so. When she was showering earlier today, I looked on her Bumble and saw a dead profile. Just notifications from deals and guys swiping on her, but her not responding. There are older convos from before we got together. Nothing there. Text messages, nothing there unless she deletes them, and I have no idea. Completely clean. Snapchat. This is where things get iffy. Now, when I opened her Snapchat list, I was shocked to see the amount of guys on here. It's like a 70-20th ratio of guys to girls. I opened some conversations. There were some that were saved. I saw one guy and the convo was completely innocent. Then the next 3 guys she has saved as pics that she sent to them prior to our relationship, but also during the start of our relationship first month or so. I also found she sent them her address and vice versa prior to us getting together, meaning I know for a fact that these are guys she is hooked up with. These guys she still talks to here and there and sends snaps to. 2D received or 3D delivered. But it's clear these are her male orbiters and guys she used to hook up with. And it's a good amount too. I would have understood maybe 1 or 2 past flings she maybe keeps in touch with, but we are talking like 7+ guys here. In the past, she told me her body count, 10 at the age of 23, and her friend told me that she used to go to parties in AC and hook up with guys. A culmination of this information with the weird notifications on her phone piqued my interest. While I found no concrete evidence of cheating, I don't feel good about this. And my trust in her has gone down significantly. She never showed me direct signs of cheating. She never flakes, tells me where she has been, and seems to genuinely love me and be with me. She gets me gifts, is super supportive, we have great sex, and a great time every time we are together. Our families met and like each other. Everything is well other than her Snapchat. My question is, where do I go from here? Do I confront her about it? Do I break it off? I'm not really sure how to feel, but I don't feel great knowing that she still talks to guys she hooked up with in the past. Story 4. What's wrong with me? 13 years relationship. M35 F41, more than just cheating. Red flag number 1. Before we got together, I was his support network while he waited for his HIV test results. It gnawed at us for almost 2 weeks. Finally, it was negative. However, he went back to prostitution despite such a scary experience. I didn't know what to say this time. Personally, I was in total shock that he banged the same wall twice. Red flag number 2. When we were officially together, I brought him to the deluxe suite at MBS and we both kinda treat it as our first home. Being a first officer pilot, I know how the aviation industry can be. But I chose to believe him. When things were rocky between us, he used it as an excuse to sleep with a Korean air stewardess, Soyoung, at the exact room at MBS and even went with her for breakfast. Breakfast is something that we share uniquely because I have insomnia, so it takes a lot of effort on my part to wake up that early just to have breakfast with him. When I asked him why he had to bring his fling to that exact place, he said he was missing me. Plus he confessed that he had the opportunity to stop whilst in the cab, but Soyoung somehow was too drunk and didn't know where she stayed. He said he searched her bag to look for some form of identification, but to no avail. He could have sent her to his place or to the police station if he wanted to have any dignity left, but alas, his lust and ego got the better of him. I found out they were conversing via FB Messenger, and what I read really disgusted me because he told her things that he told me, so I guess what he said about me was special was just his slippery tongue in action. After finding out about all these betrayal, I started to wonder if it was just to lighten his guilt or he indeed had a conscience. I did tell him before, if he wants to lie to me, just make sure I'd never find out the truth. Otherwise, don't even try. An uncanny thing is that usually the truth will come to me. I just have to be patient. Since he confessed, I gave him another chance cause I'm of the belief that when one party cheats, both are at fault and it's best we get to the root of it. Having made my boundaries clear and he sincerely repeated that he'll never do such things again, we moved on with our relationship despite it as a tough mountain for me to climb. I'm a person who believes that I'll live and die because of love. Months went on with lots of overcompensation from him. As for me, it took everything I had to wipe the slate clean and recommit to this relationship. Months went by and everything was sweet and cheery. Red flag number 3. Things were honky-dory until one fine day he left his HP on the bed and there was many notifications in his messenger again. I wanted to take the HP to pass to him in case it was something urgent, but there I saw in his notification another air stewardess name popped up. This time an Indian lady by the name of Shale. This time, I uncovered so many secrets. I was completely shaken and completely heartbroken. Red flag number 4. I saw the conversation he had with Shale and his BFF Julian. Concurrently, at this point, I told him that I was pregnant with his baby, but he didn't take it well at all, and neither did I receive any comfort from him. He listened to his BFF Julian and said that I was lying, despite me showing him the ultrasound when he demanded for proof. This can only mean that he has been fucking around behind my back. No, this time I was pissed with his BFF Julian as well because he egged my partner on to have sex with Shale. If all of them doesn't tell, how would I know? Well, if Julian's idea of being a BFF is as such, it wouldn't be a far stretch that he does this to his wife as well? When Julian was told that I was pregnant, he was the one who said that I claimed I was pregnant to continue our relationship and I was just being desperate. We could have had a family then. I went through everything with one of my buddies and he told me from then on, even if we get married, he'd hope that I understand why he won't turn up. This was a 20+ friendship and he's always protective of me 'cause he knows how I've suffered through since childhood. Red flag number 5. Lo and behold, my partner actually hired a PI to tail me and see if I was telling him the truth. He could have paid me $7,000 instead of giving it to the PI. He said he went to get himself baptized and he could confess to God every ugly details he has committed but just couldn't tell me. I was like, duh. Is he even human or just enjoys eating the forbidden fruit? Eventually his pastor told him to confess everything to me because I deserve to know the truth. So this is the depth of his heinous deeds, which I'm the one who found out most of it. He told me about the PI thing. He told me about all the details of what happened with Shale and how much he listens to his BFF Julian. To me, it's an excuse. He just doesn't want to admit he had to take accountability for everything. As for Shale, they kissed, but when I probed him if he had the chance to fuck her, he said he would. Just so happened that Shale's husband was at home and they're at the brink of divorce. Weeks passed and suddenly his HIV report showed that he had oral herpes. I didn't feel bad for him. I just didn't trust him anymore, so I couldn't be intimate with him. Whenever he tried, my knee-jerk reaction was to make him stop doing that because I would leave the relationship if he continues. Throughout the years, he confessed that he had been patronizing massage parlors which offered blowjobs in SG while overseas. This is what he actually meant when he feigned concern and told me to sleep early as have a good rest. I never suspected an underlying meaning 'cause I thought it was really concern. He lied about going to USJ with Julian. I only found out 'cause someone I know saw him there and told me about it, asking why I weren't there. My stance on his BFF was made very clear since day one, and the choice of keeping this BFF was entirely up to him, so I've no idea why he would lie over such small matters. When I confronted him about it, instead of just admitting he was at fault, he demanded to know who told me. If you're still reading on, I thank you for your patience. 6. After going through so much stress, I had a miscarriage at 3 months old. I had a total meltdown and kept blaming myself, asking God, what have I done to deserve all these? Deafening silence. Due to the AMT of stress, I was hospitalized for pneumonia. Also hospitalized for sudden large blisters on my foot and at the back of it. I'd rather have stomach flu than to ever have this again. I started to develop panic attacks and my insomnia became more severe. Not my actions, but somehow I'm getting the brunt of it. Feels like I was born to suffer, as much so that I can empathize with most people, as I was a clinical psychologist specializing in child to adolescence. 7. At this point, I'm pretty sure he unloaded all of his secrets to make himself feel weightless. 8. On and off, his temper tantrums would flare up like a woman going through hormonal shifts. 9. Recently, we bought a golden retriever named Alicia, and he proved me right not to have a family with him because he was violent to Alicia quite a number of times within less than a year. I warned him if he ever did cross the line, I would take a knife and stab him for him to understand the AMT of crap we had to suffer by his own doings. If my dad ever finds out the real him, he wouldn't be alive. Red flag number 6. Over the years, I've heard countless times when he would insist he'd change, but talk is cheap. Suddenly, I would become the villain, and I have very high expectations. From the start of this relationship, I told him all I'm looking for in a man is someone who loves and is able to hold the fort when I'm down. Please let me know if I'm asking too much. There's plenty more to share, but I guess all I want to know is if I'm insane or I'm a sadist. Does anyone have a similar experience?